Hey, this is Mitch from Native Survival. Right now we're getting hit by a fierce hurricane. I can't think of a better time to practice fire skills. Stay tuned. First thing I'm going to do is clear a spot to get off these wet leaves. Okay, so now I have a spot that's not soaked with leaves. So I picked up a bunch of birch bark because it's really first-rate tinder even when it's soaked. I picked up some pine branches that was underneath the pine. Okay, so I picked up some pine branches that was underneath the pine. They're still dry. They still snap easy. They still have a nice crisp snap. I call those skeleton branches. They're first-rate kindling during storms. So let's get started. All the small stuff off. Start making my base. I'm gonna make a raft of sticks. Alright, so here's my raft to get my fire up off the wet ground. Okay, so birch bark alone, if I put a spark into it, is enough to get a fire going. However, to really ensure my success, I'm gonna make some feather sticks in addition to the birch bark. Just cleaning off the moisture with my thumb. Okay, so I'm going to make a couple of these. Alright, so I made 4 quick feather sticks of 2 on one side, 2 on the other. What I'm going to do, I've got some birch bark here as well, is cross them over and make like a wall, like an arch. I'm going to pull over my birch bark once it ignites. So I'm going to go ahead and scrape this with my knife, expose some of the fibers of the bark. Alright, it's one pile. It's looking pretty good. So here's a close-up of the soaked bark. Scrape it, you get these little shavings. They'll catch a spark and send you on your way to have a fire. Okay, so here's all the twigs that I gathered underneath the pine that was attached to those branches. Alright, now before I throw a spark into this birch bark, I want to just discuss something real quick. Normally, to build a fire, you want to have as much airflow as you can going in to your kindling and your tinder. During a storm, you want to do the opposite. You want to really create a little home. You want to shelter it so the flame isn't blown out or its heat isn't blown away from the fuel. And that also prevents all the rain from hitting it as well. Alright. Okay, I've got flame. I'm sheltering my flame. I'm going to add this other piece of birch bark. In these little strips. It might be wet, but it'll still burn. Now I'm going to add my twigs. I'm going to make like a wall, like a V behind my fire. Close it in lightly and let it make almost like an arch over it. I'll pick up my fire equipment, put it back in my pockets so I don't worry about losing it. Got some more birch bark. I'm going to put that on there as well. It's hard to have too much birch bark in a storm when you're lighting a fire. This last piece I'm going to keep. In case I run into a problem, my fire goes out, I still have one piece to reignite another fire. Native Survival. Thanks for joining me today for starting a fire during a storm. I appreciate your views, your comments, and your support. See you in the next one. Take care.